My girlfriend cheated. I dumped her and got engaged to her sister. Now my ex wants to come to the wedding. I'm a 28-year-old male, and my ex-girlfriend Sarah is 27. Her sister Katie is 22 and has been living with me for over a year after the breakup. I was with Sarah since secondary school for 10 years. We worked hard to save up and get married, even though we lived in different cities about 70 miles apart. I would take the train every weekend to see her. When Katie applied to university in my city, she lived in halls for the first year, but couldn't afford a decent place. I offered her a room at my flat. It wasn't weird since I'd known her since she was 9. Everything was fine for about a year. Katie was tidy, kept to herself. A year and a half ago, Sarah confessed, she had been cheating on me for about 3 months. She had been living with another guy and would only come back to my flat on weekends when I visited. It was a horrible shock, and I felt numb for weeks. Katie was supportive during this time and stayed out of my way. I assumed she would eventually move out after finishing her degree. But she got a job at the university's admin department and is still living here. It's not awkward for me, but it's difficult to explain to friends, especially since she looks a lot like Sarah. I'm uncomfortable telling women I live with my cheating ex-girlfriend's sister, but I can't tell her to leave because none of this is her fault. What should I do? Honestly, if she's not being awkward about it and you're cool with it, don't do anything. It's not her fault. She probably didn't even know. Update: am I the a-hole for dating my ex-girlfriend's younger sister? I had been with Sarah since we were teenagers, and after a year in halls, Katie moved in with me for economic reasons. Just over a year and a half ago, Sarah revealed she had been cheating on me. After that, Katie continued to live with me non-romantically. When I posted before, I was realizing I liked having her around and didn't want her to leave. We spent more time together socially, and I asked Katie to dinner as a kind of date. We had a nice time and kissed, but didn't go further, acknowledging the complexity of our situation. I feel irretrievably in a hole, though. Edit: thanks for the comments. We had a long talk with her dad and aunt, who have been very supportive since Sarah and I broke up. We planned to date slowly, and her dad offered to help with rent, but financially it's tough for him. We haven't decided about telling Sarah. I haven't spoken to her since the breakup. We've discussed everything and are aware of the power dynamics involved. We have feelings for each other and have for some time. I would never have dated her for revenge or to hurt anyone. I understand if you think I'm the a-hole, but I'm trying my best. Verdict: not the a-hole. Update: I'm sharing this as I've had requests for updates. Our families have been incredibly supportive, and we are really happy together. It's been about a month, but everything feels perfectly right. We've had endless conversations about our feelings and plans, and we're starting to redecorate the house and planning a holiday together in the summer. Comment: so you have feelings for Sarah's sister while dating Sarah. Is that why you wanted her to leave to stop yourself? Update: 4 years later, we are now engaged and planning the wedding for early next year. The relationship between my fiancé and her sister is better than it was. They exchange messages on birthdays and Christmas but don't meet up. Katie lives abroad now. She found out about our engagement and mentioned needing to know the date early to book flights home, but my fiancé was too shocked. She doesn't want her sister at the wedding. I'm too excited about getting married to care too much either way. I'd prefer her not to be there. Comment: if only 149 people had warned you this would happen 4 years ago. Op replies: thanks, this is what I plan to do. If asked, I'll support whatever choice my fiancé makes. It's unlikely Sarah will show up. I feel like the drama of not inviting her would be worse than her being there. You'll be too busy on the wedding day to even notice her if she shows up. What do you make of this? Do you think Op is crazy for marrying his ex's sister? Update: a new chapter. 4 years had passed since the whirlwind of emotions and decisions that turned my life upside down. Now, as I sat on our balcony with my fiancée Katie, sipping coffee and watching the sunrise over the horizon, I felt a profound sense of peace. The chaos that once enveloped my heart had transformed into something beautiful. Our engagement had been a subtle yet significant shift in our lives. The initial awkwardness of dating my ex-girlfriend's sister had gradually faded, replaced by a deep understanding and connection that blossomed over countless late-night conversations and shared experiences. We navigated the complexities of our relationship thoughtfully, always aware of the delicate balance between our pasts and our present. In the early days of our relationship, I had been hesitant. Living with Katie after my breakup with Sarah was challenging enough, but now we were building a future together. We took our time, ensuring that every step we took was intentional. Our families had been incredibly supportive, which made the journey smoother. Katie's dad, in particular, played a crucial role, offering guidance and reassurance as we forged ahead. As we began planning our wedding for early next year, excitement buzzed in the air. We envisioned a celebration that would reflect our unique love story, incorporating elements from both our families and honoring the journey we had traveled. Friends and family rallied around us, helping to create a day that would encapsulate not just our love, but also the resilience we had shown through adversity. Despite the happiness surrounding us, the shadows of the past occasionally crept in. I still had moments of reflection about Sarah, especially when I saw her name pop up on social media or heard it mentioned in passing. I wondered how she was doing, how she felt about the changes in our lives. But these thoughts no longer held the weight they once did. Katie had become my anchor, grounding me in the present while allowing me to honor my past. Katie and I often discussed how our families were adjusting to this new dynamic. Although Sarah was living abroad, her absence felt palpable at times. During family gatherings, I sensed an unspoken tension lingering in the air, a concern about Sarah's feelings and whether she would eventually return to the fold. My fiancé assured me that while she understood the complexities, she did not want Sarah's presence to overshadow our happiness. As the wedding date drew closer, we focused on the details. We planned everything meticulously, from the venue to the guest list. Our shared excitement grew as we envisioned the day when we would stand before our loved ones, pledging our lives to one another. We decided to have an intimate ceremony, surrounded by family and close friends, allowing us to truly connect with everyone present. One evening, while we were curled up on the couch with a movie, Katie turned to me, her eyes shimmering with sincerity. "I know this is a lot for everyone involved, and I want you to know that I'll support you no matter what happens with Sarah," she said. Her words touched me deeply, reminding me of the strength of our bond. We spoke at length about our feelings, acknowledging the complexities, but also celebrating the love that had emerged from the ashes of our pasts. As the wedding approached, a series of unexpected events began to unfold. Katie received a message from Sarah, who had heard through the grapevine about our engagement. Sarah expressed a desire to attend the wedding, a request that left us both stunned. We discussed the implications of this, weighing the potential for drama against the desire for peace. Katie was apprehensive but determined to stand her ground, knowing that this day was about us and our future. In the weeks leading up to the wedding, we experienced a whirlwind of emotions. I found myself. We made a pact to focus on each other, to prioritize our love and the life we were building together. Friends rallied around us, offering encouragement and excitement, which helped drown out the noise from the past. Finally, the day arrived. I stood at the altar, surrounded by friends and family, my heart racing with anticipation. When Katie appeared, walking down the aisle, I felt an overwhelming surge of love. She looked radiant, a vision of joy and hope. The world around us faded as I locked eyes with her, and in that moment I knew that every struggle had led us to this point. The ceremony was beautiful, filled with laughter, tears, and heartfelt vows. When it was time for the reception, we celebrated with our loved ones, dancing and laughing late into the night. The warmth and love in the room was palpable, overshadowing any lingering concerns about Sarah's potential attendance. As we danced together, I felt a renewed sense of freedom, a liberation from the past that had once held me captive. Later in the evening, I spotted Sarah across the room. She had decided to come after all, but instead of feeling a wave of anxiety, I found a sense of closure washing over me. I had moved on, and seeing her in the context of our new life reinforced that reality. It was a testament to the journey I had taken, and in that moment I felt grateful for every step. As the night wound down and the last of our guests trickled out, Katie and I collapsed on the couch, exhausted yet elated. We reflected on the day, discussing our favorite moments, the laughter we shared, and the love that enveloped us. It was a perfect beginning to a new chapter. Looking forward, I felt a renewed sense of hope. We had navigated a difficult path. Katie was not just my fiance, she was my partner, my confidant, and my best friend. As we embraced the future, I knew that together we could conquer anything life threw our way. And so our journey continued, one filled with love, laughter, and the promise of a beautiful life together. Final update. As the dust settled from our wedding, life began to take on a new rhythm. Katie and I settled into married life with a sense of joy and companionship that I had never anticipated. The challenges of our past faded into the background, replaced by the everyday moments that filled our days with laughter and love. In the months following the wedding, we embraced the adventure of creating a home together. We redecorated, blending our styles and interests into a space that felt uniquely ours. The walls echoed with our shared laughter and the warmth of our connection, reminding us of the journey we had taken to get here. Katie and I often talked about our plans for the future. We dreamed of traveling, exploring new places, and creating memories that would last a lifetime. We made a pact to prioritize our relationship. Our weekends became a delightful mix of spontaneous adventures and quiet moments spent enjoying each other's company. Occasionally, thoughts of Sarah would resurface. I would wonder how she was doing, but those moments were fleeting. I had come to realize that my past no longer defined me. It had shaped me, yes, but it was no longer a burden I carried. I learned to appreciate the lessons it offered while focusing on the love that flourished in my present. As summer approached, we decided to host a family gathering. We invited both our families, hoping to strengthen the bonds that had formed through our unique circumstances. On the day of the gathering, our home buzzed with excitement. Laughter filled the air as family members mingled, enjoying good food and each other's company. In a quiet moment, Katie took my hand and led me outside to the garden. "I'm so grateful for everything we've built together. I can't wait for all that's to come." Her words resonated deeply with me. Together we had transformed a complicated past into a future filled with possibility. Later that summer, Katie and I decided to take a trip to the coast, a place we had both cherished growing up. As we strolled along the beach hand in hand, I felt an overwhelming sense of peace wash over me. We spent our days exploring tide pools, watching sunsets, and dreaming about the life we wanted to create together. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, I turned to Katie and said, "No matter what happens, I choose you every single day." Her smile lit up the twilight, and in that moment I knew our love was resilient, capable of weathering any storm. As the seasons changed, so did our lives. We began discussing starting a family, envisioning a future filled with children and the warmth of home. The prospect excited us both, and we approached it with the same commitment we had shown in our relationship. We spent evenings dreaming of names and discussing values we wanted to instill in our future kids. In the following months, the journey was filled with its own set of challenges, but we faced them together, leaning on each other for support. Our love deepened with every passing day, solidifying the foundation we had built. Finally, After a few months of anticipation and hope, we received the news we had been dreaming of. Katie was pregnant. We were overwhelmed with joy, gratitude, and a bit of nervousness. This new chapter felt like the ultimate. As I watched Katie blossom into motherhood, I marveled at her strength and grace. Together we navigated the ups and downs, preparing to welcome our child into the world. We filled our home with love, laughter, and endless preparations, eager for the adventure ahead. In the quiet moments I often reflected on how far we had come. The struggles of the past no longer haunted me; instead, they served as reminders of the strength we had gained. I felt an immense gratitude for the journey that had brought Katie and me together, solidifying our bond in ways I could have never imagined. And so, as we stood on the brink of parenthood, I felt ready to embrace whatever life had in store for us. Our story was one of love, resilience, and the beauty of second chances, a narrative that would continue to unfold with each new chapter. Together we were ready for whatever lay ahead.